In Afterburner Studios' Dreamscaper, you play as a young girl named Cassidy. As you take control of your subconscious, you must overcome your nightmares and defeat monsters that haunt you during your sleepy time. Using a range of weapons from swords to a good old-fashioned yo-yo, Mike Jones would be proud, this stylish ARPG looks unlike any other roguelite title you've ever played. Never before have your most twisted nightmares been so easy on the eyes. When you aren't trying to catch some Z's and bash your night terrors in the face, expect to spend your waking hours building friendships with those around you to increase your mental fortitude against the dark forces of night. Enemies will embody those bothersome feelings that Cassidy can't seem to escape during the day, feelings of loss and loneliness. Fortunately for you, you can deal with all that negative emotion with Dreamscaper's modernized hack-and-slash combat. Just don't get too cocky. While they're absolutely owning your nightmares, Dreamscape is a roguelite title after all, so permadeath is part of the package. Dreamscaper will invade Steam in the near future on April 8th, courtesy of a free prologue chapter, with a full release coming later this summer. Who needs a new Mega Man X game when Battery Staple Games has got you covered? That's right, Ace and Nina are back. The badass bot-busting duo return in 30XX, a sequel to the critically acclaimed roguelite action platformer 20XX. Remade, or should we say demade, with stunning pixel art, 30XX features all the precise platforming and pulse-pounding action we've come to expect from the franchise, along with some new, exciting gameplay upgrades. Jumping, shooting, and slashing has never felt so good. Get equipped with 30XX on Steam and consoles later this year, or next. We're not entirely sure. For a game that looks and sounds as good as this one does, 30XX is going to be well worth the wait. Developed by Streamline Games, Bake and Switch is an absolutely adorable couch co-op game where you and a team of up to 4 bakers must work your buns off to appease a sentient oven and feed its piping hot face with glutinous globs of living bread. The only way to rise to the challenge of that pesky oven's insatiable appetite is to take those lovable lumps of dough and combine them to make even bigger balls of dough. Bake and Switch looks like a recipe for success. It's fun, chaotic, and not crummy at all. We'd love for you to check it out when it releases on Steam and Nintendo Switch later this year. Team Cherry completely blew gamers' collective minds with Hollow Knight back in 2017. Now the team is looking to outdo itself with the next chapter of the award-winning series. Hollow Knight Silksong brings back that style that we all fell in love with and dials up the action to insane new levels. Taking on the role of Hornet, the princess protector of Hollow Nest, finally, you must embark on a journey into a mysterious new kingdom. Armed with her wits and signature grace, Hornet will vault from enemy to enemy in a whirlwind of acrobatic carnage with an entirely new set of deadly moves. With over 150 new enemies and massive screen-filling boss fights, you'll need more than your trusty needle and thread to overcome these challenges, however. Fortunately, you can craft a whole mess of weapons, traps, and tools to beat your opponents into submission. Expect to forge new friendships, explore wondrous new locations, and unlock plenty of secrets along the way. Hollow Knight Silksong will release when it matches the quality of the original. Hopefully, that means sometime this year.
Do you have those moments that stick out in your mind? When I was a kid, I was told you are what you do, so choose wisely.
A breathtaking first-person adventure about a woman determined to change her destiny, The Red Lantern is looking to blend a deeply engrossing narrative with dynamic dog-sledding gameplay. There's a lot more action to be had aside from mushing your way across the icy plains of Alaska, though. Hundreds of unique, ever-changing events can occur without notice, and can greatly impact you and your 4-legged companions. A massive bear may suddenly leap out from behind a tree and take a chunk out of one of your 5 doggos. An unassuming squirrel may cross your path and decide to claw your face off and straight up murder you. It's up to you to choose how you want to interact with this frozen landscape. Do you want to go on a killing spree and hunt everything that moves, which, when it comes to the squirrel, may be your only real option? Or do you take a more calculated and cautious approach? Survival and resource management are high on your list of priorities, so sometimes your actions can be entirely circumstantial. You not only have yourself to take care of, but you also have to take care of your precious puppers as well, which you can totally love on and pet whenever you want. who's a good boy. So if any of these dogs die over the course of this game's story, Timberline Studios should consider themselves cancelled, of course. The Red Lantern thaws later this year on Nintendo Switch, Windows PC, and Xbox One. You've never experienced deja vu quite like this before. In this interactive thriller, you are Aaron, and you are trapped in a never-ending 12-minute time loop. What begins as a romantic evening at home with your wife violently escalates when a police detective breaks into your home, accuses your wife of murder, and beats you to death. Before you have a chance to understand what just happened, you find yourself back at the exact moment when this nightmare began. Forced to relive the same 12 minutes over and over again, it is up to you to arm yourself with whatever clues you can find to break the loop and change the outcome for better. A simple yet evocative 3D art style underscores this point-and-click mystery that is guaranteed to keep you on the edge of your seat. Don't lose track of time when 12 Minutes releases later this year on PC and Xbox One. What do you get when you smash Contra and Hellraiser into one another? The answer is Iron Meat, a 2D side-scrolling run-and-gun that is heavy on the gore and even heavier on the heavy metal. Created by Ivan Serverov, a solo developer from Russia, this grindhouse gunner will push your trigger finger to its breaking point. An insane arsenal of upgradable weapons and some of the most grotesque monstrosities await you in the game that seriously feels like it was ripped right out of the 1990s. It's got pixel art that is to die for, and you will die for it over and over and over again. And a rockin' soundtrack that will melt your face right off. Konami may have all but murdered the Contra franchise, Roll Corps was trash and you know it, but its spirit is alive and well, and incredibly pissed off. Iron Meat blasts its way into Steam and all major gaming consoles on July 31st. From the makers of Fury, that intense boss fight game that made me and many others want to take a bite through their controllers, comes Haven, an intuitive action romance experience. Take the role of you, his lover Kay, or even both at once. You will traverse a beautiful cel-shaded world and fight for survival against the elements. Battles play out with an eclectic turn-based system as you are able to control both main characters in real time. Not a fan of playing by yourself? Well, a second player can join in or drop out at any time to aid you on your quest to restore the planet. The Game Bakers is quickly becoming one of our favorite developers here, and Haven looks like a must-have title. Let nothing challenge your love when Haven launches later this year. Don't let Spiritfarer's charming and often whimsical design fool you. It's got some pretty deep themes running through its colorful hand-drawn world. Described as a cozy management game about dying, this latest title from Thunder Lotus Games has players take on the role of a ferrymaster to the deceased who is tasked with guiding souls to the next world. Having made a name for themselves with games like Jotun and Sundered, Thunder Lotus Games' iconic art style is second to none. There's something that is just so mesmerizing about the characters they create and the worlds that they inhabit. Spiritfarer looks to be the team's most ambitious project to date. Aside from comforting the dead as they accept their new existence, you can farm and harvest crops, gather resources, and expand your vessel's lodgings, and prepare scrumptious meals for one of your anthropomorphic guests. Oh, and you can hug the heck out of everyone on board, so take that, social distancing. While no release date has been announced, you can set sail with Spiritfarer on Steam, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One, courtesy of Game Pass, sometime this year. Chances are, you haven't heard about Evolutis. And honestly, we can't blame you. After seeing this game in action at PAX East last month, it became obvious to us that developer Pokelife Studio was creating a one-of-a-kind experience. Taking visual and thematic cues from Akira and Blade Runner, Evolutis is a 2D story-driven action-adventure game where the player has control over 3 separate characters, a grieving husband, a famous wrestler, and a drug addict. So think of it like Detroit Become Human, but with actual engaging gameplay. The dynamic narrative is just the tip of the sleek cyberpunk drama. Whether you're caught in a dramatic shootout in an alleyway, or you have to persuade a bouncer to let you into the local nightclub by introducing his face to an axe, Evolutis is packed with plenty of action and over-the-top violence, just the way we like it. Not to sound too hyperbolic here, but Evolutis really does feel like a playable heavy metal or Aeon Flux. It's one slick-looking game, and we, for one, cannot wait to get our hands on it when it launches later this year. And neither should you. That about wraps it up for the top 10 upcoming indie games of 2020. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, do not forget to hit the like button and hit that notification bell for future updates. Be sure to also let us know your thoughts on these games, and maybe there's some that we missed that you want to see coming. You know what to do. If you haven't, now would be a great time to subscribe to the channel and even check out our podcast. We interview indie game developers on a weekly basis, some of which are featured on this list. So please, let us know whose story you would like to hear next. You can find links to all of our content in the description. Thanks again for watching, and as always, please be excellent to each other.